Quick question of the day. How do you approach fantasy football trading? And then I got a follow-up to that. But how do you – I mean, that's a big question, I know. But give me a couple things that you look for when you are making trades, when you're offering them, receiving them. People actually, they ask us questions all the time about this type of a thing. How do you put a deal together / do you talk to the person before you send the offer over? I mean, it sounds funny, but there's a way to do it.
I got a couple tips. One of the things – first, you analyze your roster and you say, what do I need and what are my assets to give away, right? Get a kind of an idea of what you want to do. Don't just be like, I want to trade. And then once you go, okay, well, I'm going to try to package my second big tight end or whatever you're giving, go look at the rosters in your league and just start by looking at the teams who have the needs that match yours. Otherwise, you're just kind of, I mean, that's what I do. I need somebody who doesn't have a quarterback or doesn't have a tight end or doesn't have a running back or wide receiver, and I look through the rosters, and that's how I start my trades. And one other tip that I like doing, I really like trading with people who have who either have a losing record or are coming off of a loss, because they tend to devalue their players more than they should, and people coming off of a win value their players more than they should. So you tend to find a little bit more tilt on teams coming off of a loss.
And right about now, a thing that I like to do is from a position of power, if you have it, look for a team who maybe has one of their stars on bye week. And if you have some ammunition to put towards grabbing that star because that team needs to get a victory this week, that's also a sneaky play that I enjoy.
And I'll just add in, be careful when chasing the numbers. Okay, so what I mean is I saw some trade offers come across people wanted my opinion on, and it was things like giving up Kelsey in a package for Ben Watson at tight end. And I told, my feedback for that person was, look, if there were other players involved, if you can do this trade and ignore the Ben Watson piece and have another tight end lined up somewhere else, but don't chase Ben Watson's career highest week when he's been in the league 47 years. And he's not going to repeat it. It's just not going to happen.
No, generally, I'm targeting players, unless it's a very specific thing. I'm targeting players that have been underperforming. I'm looking to grab the Jeremy Hills and before last week, the Lamar Millers, and those guys who I believe are going to bounce back who aren't, as opposed to the exact opposite of chasing the guys who are doing more than you expected. Oh, man.
And if you want like kind of a black hat way to do trades,
then Andy will give it to you.
Was this a covert op?
Well, I think there's a psychological thing that happens. This is just getting well beyond what we should be talking about. But there's a psychological thing that happens when you redundantly offer something and the person, it could be bad, right? It could be a semi-bad trade. But when it's repeated a few times and then you throw something in on it, it starts to sound better to the person. Because they've said no a few times. They didn't say no to the one where you throw in a little pick at the end or you throw in an extra player at the end. But once you come around to the fact, you're right, let me just throw a little something extra in there, it starts to look better.
We are big fans here at the Fantasy Footballers of those 2-for-1, 3-for-1 trades.
I thought you were talking about psychological manipulation.
And psychological warfare. Those two things are pretty much what we're known for.
As I said, go get it. Go get it.
Yeah.